Continue the future or continue the past? There is a difference, and the difference is a choice, and the choice matters. Why? Knowledge is power. Knowledge is what separates the past from the future. The power of knowledge is responsible for a global civilization unprecedented in human history. National borders are being erased as people are now able to travel the globe, both physically and through the cloud. But with global connectedness comes an unprecedented vulnerability. The coronavirus also knows no borders, exposing that vulnerability as it impacts lives personally, socially, and economically. And this virus is crossing borders because our common humanity transcends borders. Truth is, too many nations, especially the superpowers, are more prepared to fight World War III than fight a pandemic. And that is the difference between continuing the past or continuing the future. The enemy does not need to be each other. World economies, deep in debt, lack the resources to both prepare for war and meet the needs and challenges of the 21st century. It is a matter of morality, priority, and simple survival. The consequences of the coronavirus pandemic will be felt for years. Then comes the consequences of global warming. In fact, the consequences of abusing knowledge throughout the 20th century will impact the 21st century for quite a while. Another world war would be absolutely devastating. The knowledge that builds weapons of mass destruction is also the weapon that defeats a virus and meets any challenge faced in the 21st century. Again, a choice. How will we use the power of knowledge? The pandemic has brought out the best in people, as natural disasters often do. The sacrifices made not only by healthcare workers, but by so many workers who maintain a minimal functioning of society is well documented. And it is this spirit of caring for one another that can continue the future and meet any challenge. But for this spirit to be nurtured and grow, something fundamental must change. Knowledge is changing the human environment. And evolution says when environments change, organisms either evolve or die. So, what must evolve? The human heart. Only an evolution of the human heart on a global scale can harness the power of knowledge for good and redefine the 21st century as one of healing and rebirth. So to that end, Continue the Future is a 7-part vision, making the case for evolving the human heart, redefining the 21st century as one of great promise. But still, it is a choice. This vision begins by acknowledging a global consciousness existing in thin air. How does that happen? The second part suggests how this moment can be pictured in a way that gives historical context to the 21st century. Part 3 observes how we are the first generations in human history to never know a time without television. Has television cast a spell over the earth? Are we now in a new time zone? We are surrounded by an unseen presence existing in thin air. Aside from a smartphone, what else can reveal an unseen presence? These first four parts lead to the book Light Switch, a book making the case for the human heart, coming in two parts, off and on. And finally, a personal testimony of what I learned by exiting the darkness of an attempted suicide and embracing the light leading me to the continuation of my future. You might say, continue the future is my final exam. Knowledge has brought human history to a crossroads. One road continues the abuse of knowledge, while the other leads to a rebirth. It is a choice made by a global consciousness to decide the fate of humanity. So, I give you continue the future, making the case for evolving the human heart.